Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, friend. I really do genuinely, wholeheartedly and authentically hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the series here on the channel where multiple times a day I reflect on the headlines, what's being said in the media, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly asking for yours. Chelsea have signed 2 more players since this morning's video. We're going to talk about the UEFA rule change, Caicedo, Levi Carlile, and could we buy another superstar striker this transfer window in the remaining time? Ooh la la! Well, I'm delighted to say I've continued my partnership with OneFootball. As you can see, the QR code down here that you can scan. Lovely stuff. Bought a lovely banner as well. Yes, of course, it's totally free, and that's why I'm delighted to be able to have a partnership with them, because I'd love to give you guys free stuff if possible. I use it all the time on my phone. It's a slick, totally easy to use companion app that gives you transfer news, updates, and of course, we are inundated. I know you guys watch my videos as soon as you can because you turn the bell on when you subscribe, and I'm very thankful for that. But in between, if you just want to check your phone and get alerts on Chelsea or indeed any transfer news, you can do that by simply clicking the link in the top of the description or scanning that guy. All right, Chelsea news. Deep breath in. Namaste. First of all, let's talk about Levi Carlile. Some more news circulating largely from big Fabrizio Romano. He will stay at Chelsea despite there's interest from Manchester City, Liverpool. You know, like we said before, Brighton are willing to break their transfer record on him. He's the truth by all accounts, this kid. Chelsea do not want to sell him. They believe he's such an important asset. But kind of understandably, this kid is really, really wary of what's going on at Chelsea and what's going to happen. He's at the European, the Euros, the under-21 Euros at the moment. It is the Euros, well, yeah, it's the Euros. And he doesn't want to do any talks now, but he does, and his camp is reiterating, it's not about money. There's a contract offer on the table for him, which is great. But he's not really even looking at the money. He's like, look, I'm only going to sign this if I'm in the plans to be the boy. If Pochettino wants me to be a centre-back, I will sign and nail my colours to the mast and beat Chelsea. But if you just want me as a backup rotation, if you just want me to commit long-term future, and maybe I'll go on loan now or January if I don't play, or next summer, then I'm not interested, bud. And I kind of respect that. You know, you got to look after yourself. So fair play to the lad. And I love Badiashile as well. So I don't have a huge problem with it. I don't want either of them to go. But if Levi starts over Badiashile as the left centre back, of course they're both left footers, both very young. Levi's a little bit younger, I believe. Then that's cool. That's fair enough. So we'll see what happens. Of course, keep it locked, and I'll update you as the story develops. Right, Chelsea have signed 2 more strikers today. Youngsters. I'm going to quickly run you through that before we talk about UEFA rules relating to Chelsea. And you and me, we can sit down and debate a high-profile centre-forward signing, because that has been spoken about a lot. So Chelsea have signed 2 players. One is Alex Matos from Norwich City. Yes, first of all, let's read what Chelsea are saying. Capable of playing in midfield and attack, Matos featured for Norwich's under-18s and under-21s last season. He scored 3 Premier League goals in Premier League 2 for the latter. So for the under-21s, he scored 3. This is important to note. This is part of, presumably, Chelsea's Project 2030, when they will have an army of talented kids, all bought as youngsters, that can refresh the first team squad and maybe be utilised in not the lone army, but the multi-club model army. An England international at schoolboy level. Matos joined Norwich from Luton Town in 2016, stuck out on his first outing to the Canaries youth team against Arsenal shortly after his 16th birthday. So he's 18 now, and Lewis Hall is 18, and he's been like starting high profile games against Manchester City and pretty much outshining all our senior players. So listen to this. The 18-year-old averaged a goal involvement per game. And I love how the official Chelsea website, they've jumped on board with the football nerd stat lingo. A goal involvement per game, 5 goals, 6 assists in his first 11 appearances. So 11 and 11, which is great for like an attacking midfielder forward. Became a regular for Norwich's under-18s, and of course he then went to the under-21s and scored 3 goals there. So welcome, lad, Alex Matos. It's peculiar how we are signing more players and they're holding up this or last season's shirt with the, the 3 logo on it. It's silly, innit? Who else have we signed? Okay, this one's probably a little bit more high profile, potentially. Moreira. Portugal under-21 international Diego Moreira has completed a move to Chelsea from Benfica. Our well-cultivated relationship with Benfica. A winger whose father, Al-Mami, was a Guinea-Bissau international, joined Benfica from Standard Liège in 2020 and played an important role in the club's 2022 Youth Cup triumph. Wow. The 18-year-old, so another 18-year-old, has grabbed 2 assists and in the final, which saw them defeat Salzburg 6-0. So a winger that's creative and generates assists. He featured regularly for the Benfica B team last term and has already made his senior debut. That came against Pacos de Ferreira in May 2022. The winger is currently representing his country in the European Under-21 Championship and has featured against Netherlands and Belgium. Well, we've got with Chelsea. This is part of Chelsea's 2030 vision. They're buying all these players. Of which many can be seen in this Euros Under-21s championship that's going on. With more every day. Chelsea have a plan here. I wonder if they're on a 47-year deal, because that's relevant for the next conversation. 90 Min is writing about how this UEFA rule change will change Chelsea's contract strategy. Todd Boehly likes to paint himself as the arch disruptor. Does he? Creating value where there is value gaps and always looking for structural advantages. Loophole Boehly, they call him. When he became Chelsea chairman in the wake of Blueco's £4.25 billion takeover a year ago. The £4.25 billion is the committed money. I think the actual sale of the club itself up front was like 2 point something. But the rest is for, like, other stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Boehly quickly exploited a loophole that existed in the murky realm of football finance. I mean, to be honest, he came in throwing his weight around. He did a lot of stuff wrong, but he's done some stuff right. And they've ripped up Chelsea and they've started again. And not necessarily like this. In fact, probably not entirely like this. I've been on my knees for this. Start Chelsea again. We're such a great club, but we've been running in this obscure, philosophy, and Roman Abramovich was so good for Chelsea, but there's the absence and the visa withdrawal, and the peculiar assembled board, and the lacking of football structure. I know this is boring admin-y stuff, but it's stuff that I found important. I didn't necessarily want it at the whole destruction of our team and, taking away the culture and us finishing 12th. But there is a small flame burning inside me within still that thinks we are doing some stuff right here. By dishing out unusually long contracts to his raft of new recruits, the venture capitalist had found a way of spending excess of £500 million across 2 transfer windows and remaining within the boundaries of financial fair play. Amortization, baby. However, UEFA, European football's governing body, has plugged the gap. They're like, no, you can't do that anymore. Naughty, naughty Todd. Stop trying to take advantage of us. So, of course, this is done with amortization, breaking the old under regime. Amortization is simply cutting up the entirety of the cost of the player and spreading it across their deal along the financial books. You still spend the same amount of money, but you're allowed to, spread the butter thin on the toast until you reach another toast, which represents a different financial period. Is that analogy good? Probably not. So, loads of players on high wages. For example, Wesley Fofana it was under 70 million, it was 68 or 67 even, but that was a 7-year deal, so that's 10 million a year, essentially, over the books. If Fofana had signed a 4-year deal, Chelsea would have shown a loss of 17.5 million a year. Basically, condensed deals causes a problem. So they just saw it as little risk for them. They're like, yeah, well, they'll be on long contract. Sure, if they break a leg or something, they're screwed. But they probably tried to protect themselves in some ways in the contract. But it's still good for the player because it's offering them such long-term security with what I still assume is an incentive-based contract that was not the highest basic, but a basic that can go up loads if you fulfill Chelsea's destiny, qualify for the Champions League, win trophies. You do that, mate, you'll be on a Chelsea salary of old, and you got a long contract, so you can make them peas and have security forever. So, yes, so we know how it works, but what have UEFA done? UEFA cannot forcibly cap the length of a contract that wants to do it. However, so they can't say, no, you can't give long contracts, because that's up to the players. However, UEFA's new regulations stipulate that the clubs can only amortise a player's transfer fee to the maximum of 5 years. So this kind of goes back to what we used to do in terms of, giving players, even if they're young, a 5-year deal, which back then, and even now, is considered a long-term contract. Of course, Kai Havertz, for example, just signed a 5-year deal with Arsenal. They call that a long-term contract. A short-term contract is 2 years. A 3 years was like a contract. 5 years is a long-term contract. Bowley came and gave Enzo Fernandez a 9.5-year deal after that 1-year extension. So, will the rule be backdated? The new rule came in effect as of today. So, did Jackson's on a long contract. You imagine he signed that contract yesterday, don't you? Obviously, he's been unveiled today as a Chelsea player with the media. That contract was signed yesterday, wasn't it? That was so signed yesterday. Anyway, will the rule be backdated? UEFA may be bitter about Bowley's brazen tactics, but they cannot retroactively, easy for me to say, punish the American for exploiting the system. It's not. It's just being creative with the rules that are there, so they can't backdate it. Incredible scenes. Change it all you want, guys, but Big Bowley's here to find the answer. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. Okay, so let's talk about striker, because I have seen some stuff floating around that, if we can get Ziyech over the line, Pulisic over the line, Aubameyang over the line, hot dog! If we can get Lukaku off the books and over the line to Inter or Saudi even, just if he can't go to Inter, he just doesn't want to come back to Chelsea, does he? Go and earn loads of money in Saudi, mate, you'll be alright. Then Chelsea could sign a striker. My initial feeling is Poch doesn't play with two centre forwards. There might be a time when two are on the pitch, and for example, the most obvious thing to say there is Nicholas Jackson, who plays out wide because he started as a winger, so he can do that. So you can put Berea through the middle, or new high-profile signing. Chelsea have often had three strikers in the past, but we were always in Europe. To have three strikers when you're not in any form of European competition does worry me, because Jackson will want to play. Berea is like, I'm here to play. You've been telling me, you've been bigging me up like Levi Carlile style, for the last 2 years. So I'm not, I'm here to play. I don't mind coming off the bench initially a little bit because I've had a year off injury. But if I'm behind this kid Jackson and you sign a Galactico, a high-profile striker, what the ruddy heck am I doing here? Tricky indeed. Unless he trains to become a right winger, then you're in business, son. But he's a striker through and through. Unless by all accounts, Nicholas Jackson is going to be a centre forward. He's listed as a striker on Chelsea's squad list now. So how are we going to fit all these strikers in on a 1 game a week basis? 1 game a week, that's going to suck ass, isn't it? Oh well, at least middays, midweek evenings when Champions League's on, I'll just watch someone else and I won't have to rush to my computer to do a match review, post-match presser. I can just sit and watch the analysis and wind down before bed, like the old man that I am. Anyway, high-profile strikers, literally, unless we pull something left field out of the bag, we're looking at Dujan Vlahovic, we're looking at Lautaro Martinez, who apparently remains Pochettino's preferred centre-forward. Probably something to do with them both coming from Argentina. But he is a good player, Lautaro Martinez. He had a really crap Champions League final. Did himself no justice there. But he And indeed, like he wasn't really featuring in the World Cup, was he? What's the kiddie from Man City? Oh my god. I just can't believe that's blown my mind. Who's the striker after Haaland? I'm gonna find out now. I'm not gonna wait. Julian Alvarez. I just need to start typing. Julian Alvarez. There you go. Bang. He started for Argentina in the World Cup over Lautaro Martinez. And considering Alvarez was the second striker not really playing for City, and Lautaro was like, recent Scudetto winner, a few years his senior. It's not the greatest look, but he had come off a really strong season at Inter. So that's good for him. And if at this point I don't really care. I don't care about stats. I don't care about, brand marketability or how high profile you are. I'll just care about coaching a friggin' football team and one that the manager is happy with and signs off on. It's on you now, man. Do you know what I mean? And if that's Lautaro Martinez, then fine. So it could be, that's what, in terms of high profile, Dusan Vlahovic, Lautaro Martinez, unless you hold fire until January and get Ivan Toney. That is an interesting one. That's one that I would seriously consider personally because he looks like a really good Premier League striker, and he's a sort of what's he like mid-late 20s. He's right in the slot to help Jackson and Brewer develop, start, and then if he's injured, which can happen, or if he gets more gambling bans, which you'd think you won't now, but I would be quite interested in that. Anyway, I wanted to talk about it at the end of this video and put it out to you guys and see what you think. See if you think, or comment if you think Chelsea should buy a high-profile striker, and if so, who? And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The second video of the day complete. If you do like the content, please do drop a like. Make sure you hit the bell when you sub, because multiple videos a day. And if you want free updates on a slick One Football app, just click the link in the top of the description. I thank you for joining me. See you very soon. Peace.